Hello everyone and welcome back to the And More Bus Videos YouTube channel. I'm And More Bus Videos, or I'm More Central depending on what day of the week it is. And welcome to Totnes Bus Station in the Westcountry version 3.03 with our usual bit where when I turn it around it always takes quite a while for all the buildings to load in. Just to show you how detailed this map is. So you join me with this lovely vehicle, the Studio Polygon E400 or 400 MMC, parked on the 35 and X35 stand. That's where we left the previous video. However, it isn't some sort of ironic ploy where we're going to run the 1B off this stand. We are actually on the 1A starting. Which one did we do last time? The 1A. 1B we did last time. We need to do the 1A. But no, it's not some sort of ploy like that. This is actually going to be a 35 video. I thought initially to use this Studio Polygon MMC on the 1A, and then I thought, well, having already just done the circular in the previous video this week, and with all of the talk of apparently in the where this bus terminates in Paynton's changed, a few other bits and bobs have changed, I thought it would be quite nice to stretch the legs a little bit on a lovely bus like this and take it all the way through to Paynton, featuring the lovely Devon repaint pack. So as you can see, this one is the tap on and tap off one that we're driving in this video. I'm going to be driving the 1A next though, so for those of you that are excited about that, don't worry, that video is still on its way. I just thought I'd have a little drive of the 35 in between, add a little bit of variety, and then we'll have a drive of the 1A, and then it's not just like, hang on a sec, all the scenery is just the same, so we can appreciate it a little bit more. So we'll get the vehicle all set up. When it wants to work. There we go, it doesn't come up with all the warning symbols. And we shall, there it is, we will get the blinds all working. Brilliant. There we go, and then we will log into the machine. Now, the one positive about there being no passengers here is it does mean that when you're setting it up, you can set up in peace without the let's just do that one, without the annoyance of people being there and getting in the way. Still love the office reference on the sheets. Do appreciate that. But it does mean that as I set that up, I'd not get anybody running for me. There we go, that's a bit better. I still don't quite know how you're supposed to reverse out of this station. I mean, I don't know if you're supposed to go to the top and spin and come back or what, but I prefer it if I can to full lock when there's no other buses in and get out that way. I mean, we haven't actually achieved today. Oh, no, spoke too soon. There we go. The double parking of those taxis is also not particularly ideal for when you're trying to pull out. So in the version 3.03 update, the X35 no longer exists, so you no longer spend all your time gallivanting in an express mode on the X35. I don't know. I don't think they've decided if it's coming back yet or not. I think they're currently reviewing it. Either way, I don't particularly mind if it does come back or doesn't. I mean, there's pros and cons for both. I mean, what's quite nice at the moment is it's obviously there's a bit more weighting on the 35 that is realistic to real life. But then on the other side, I do love flooring buses all the way up and down the X35 route. So I'm pretty easy going with what happens with that, in fairness. But on this latest update, the 35 route is every 20 minutes. So we'll see just how popular it is. And I believe we only pass about 2 other vehicles because we're vehicle number 3. So very different setup to before. It'll also be quite cool to see these sort of tiny remedial updates that have taken place on the route, bearing in mind that this is only sort of a, when you have a 0 before your number, it's not a full update, so this is version 3.03. That is because this is sort of the remedial update before version 3.1. 3.1 is going to bring a lot more. I sound like I'm turning very techie when I say all of that. But if it's like a 0, 0.5, 0.3, 0.7, there's still bits and bobs that are work in progress, and apparently we will see that when we get to Paynton, where there's areas of the map that are getting work done that they've sort of disguised with roadworks, or they put the roadworks in place to sort of hint at where work is going to get done. So there is that, and we'll probably notice that. We'll see how it goes. And I'm quite looking forward to just driving the MMC and seeing what it's like. It's been ages since I've driven the 35. You let me out? Nope. You're pushing through anyway. Thank you. Appreciate that. Slowing right down and then pushing through the side of the bus anyway. I would possibly argue that that junction we've just gone across, where I struggled to get out, I think it would be better with 2 lanes, arguably. I mean, yes, anything is better than that roundabout, because the roundabout was sculpted lovely, like the modelling on it was amazing, but OMSI AI just didn't compute to it. It just didn't. It wasn't able to put 2 and 2 together most of the time. They then put you in a position where you'd either go around and everything would be gridlocked, or you'd go around and something would drive into you. So it is quite nice that that's gone. I do kind of understand why it went, because it wasn't the fault of the developers, but the fault of OMSI AI not being able to figure out what to do. But I would then also argue that what's replaced, it does need to be 2 lanes on this side. I don't think it's as important on the other side, but I think especially if you're trying to pull out in a bus, because I'm not on the highest traffic setting either, I can only imagine it's absolutely impossible to pull out with vicious AI traffic. Because in the real world, one of them will always let you out, and it's like there, it tried to let me out and then pushed through anyway. So I think 2 lanes would possibly be beneficial, because then it would split off your right flow traffic that I would say was half and half. But yeah, there is that, and it also does depend on space and things like that. But that would be my suggestion. It's going to appear at a solid 30 is the bus. So speaking of MMCs, it's going to be all change for Stagecoach over the next few months as a massive order of E400 MMCs rock up. I'm not spoiling it too much as to the videos I've filmed recently and the places I've visited. However, there's going to be some quite exciting, there is Trident-related videos coming along that will give you a little bit of a hint as to where I've been. With E400 MMCs scheduled to arrive very, very soon to most of these places. I'm not spoiling it too much as to the videos I've filmed recently. I'm not spoiling it too much as to the videos I've visited. There's going to be some quite exciting, there's going to be some quite exciting videos coming along that will give you a little bit of a hint as to where I've been. With E400 MMCs scheduled to arrive very, very soon to most of these places. I've been both locally very, very recently for a new batch that rocked up here, and further afields into a certain location in the Midlands that's very, very popular with Tridents at the moment, to sample the vehicles and sample the other older stocks that they've currently got running prior to the new E400 MMCs rocking up that are pretty much going to wipe out most of the Tridents. We've also got sort of places like Mansfield that is on the to-do list, although I do keep ticking their Tridents on pronto anyway. But it's going to be very, very interesting after summer to see all of the Tridents disposed of and sort of not required. I mean, Cumbria is the first place to do it with their new 23 plate Lakes MMCs. So they've got shut of theirs. Tridents. Not all of them have gone for scrap. That again is what a certain video is themed on. That's going to be releasing very, very soon. But it's very, very interesting, and it basically means that the main moral of what I'm saying is basically, if you want to go on Tridents with Stagecoach, now is the time, because in the truly nicest way, I can't see them lasting particularly much longer. Not in most places, anyway. I do love driving this bus. I just feel it suits these kinds of roads so well. Just very, very smooth. I had the pleasure of one of these quite recently on the X5 from Bicester to Milton Keynes, and I mean, yes, they've replaced coaches, and yes, I would have preferred the coach, but obviously practicality is destined that they got shut of the coaches on the X5, and in return there's E400 MMCs that they're just good on the route. They don't feel clunky because of how smooth they are and how smooth the roads are there as well. It must be said that because there's money, the roads are actually quite nice. But because of how smooth the roads are as well, it's just very, very nice. Very nice to go on. I may see if this looks... oh, hello. See if this looks relatively decent for a screenshot. And yes, it does. I like that. That's... I like a screenshot with greenery in the background. Hello. move the camera, there we go. Default camera, there's just somebody there facing me. Bert Cider. I do also love the caravans, the AI caravans and things like that on here as well. I just think it's so realistic for somewhere like the Westcountry. I mean, it's like Westcountry, Cornwall, Devon. I mean, any of these places that you go, you always get caravans during the spring and summer. Oh, we're 3 minutes early. I was just about to say, let's see what we're doing for time. I'm 3 minutes early, and that's because I did clearly do 55 and a 40. But it's a game. You've got to have a little bit of fun. And my excuse is I can just cane it round the states that in real life you can't. We also really don't have that many people waiting, and I wouldn't put it down to being 3 minutes early either, because I've been earlier and still have people waiting. So how long is it supposed to take? Because it does feel like a very, very quick route now. Gosh, it is as well. It's only one-sided. It's only one side. Huh? Sure, it used to be a longer route than this. Though that makes me think that we don't actually go into Paignton Centre. I'd also love how smooth this bus is when you go around corners and things like that. You have a lot more confidence in the steering than some other buses in this game. Like, a lot more confidence. And this is why I like driving buses like this, the Eclipse, the Street Deck to a degree, the Spectra and things like that, because when you go around the corner, you have full confidence that the bus is actually going to go around it. It's not like some of the older vehicles that we had, where it's like with that, you couldn't do that, you just have to stop. You couldn't sort of eke the steering anymore, because you just know full well that you'd end up in that car. And it's so nice nowadays to have these kind of buses that, I mean, yes, some of them are a little bit pricier than others, but I still recommend, because they're so smooth. If you drive OMSI 2 in any sort of semi-regular capacity, it's worth getting these. Because you can just tell the difference. Really, really can tell the difference. Especially with the MMC. The MMC is when you obviously you've got a computer that can take it, because it is very, very heavy filing. But when you can get something that can take it's so smooth. Really, really is. I also need to add the ADL badge on the front. I don't quite know where that's gone. I would say wait some time there, but I think we're just blocking the junction, and in fairness, we are nearly there. And for anybody that missed us at that stop, there is a park and ride bus, so they can walk up to get, because the park and ride's a limited stop. Oh, Science Park. Oh, there is a passenger, and it got up quite last second. And there was actually somebody getting off that I didn't even realise. Must have rung the bell quite quietly. Good job I stopped then. Because I did check the previous stop, and the bell thing wasn't on the dash, so it must have just come up. Oh, people getting up at last second. Gotta love it. There we go, that's the bell. And somebody topping off. Now, I think tap on, tap off with those secondary readers is really going to come into its element when the £2 fare capping stops. I know operators like First South Yorkshire put the tap on, tap off devices on the vehicles, but haven't yet activated them. That I think is the one easiest move. Obviously, West Yorkshire did it just before the fare cap came in, but even with West Yorkshire then continuing the fare cap indefinitely, and the mayor saying, "Oh, we'll only ever just rise it slightly." It means that West Yorkshire's never actually going to be able to use top on, top off properly. I think everywhere else, when the £2 fare capping stops, I think top on, top off is going to be absolutely ideal, because it will stop passengers spending stupid amounts of money on trips that potentially they could only need a day ticket for, or potentially a max fare capping that they didn't even know existed, so a day ticket that they didn't even know existed. So I think it'll work. I mean, it'll not benefit operators in the way that operators won't be able to make as much money off people. And the car's just driven straight into me, okay. And I don't think they won't be able to make as much money off people, because obviously they'll be doing the socially correct thing, capping it and all of that lot. But I think it'll make fares a lot easier for people in the long run. And I mean, you won't have that issue where people, once they get used to it, where people are always asking the driver, well, what's the best ticket for this? And it'll just be the response will be tap on, tap off. It'll cap out at whatever zones you end up in. So obviously, if you started doing day tickets based on zones, in a similar way to what they do with the Oyster on the Tube in London, you'd put yourself in a position where that fire engine's getting quite close. And you'd put yourself in a position where it theoretically should make life a lot easier for people. It just seems to have had some sort of breakdown. Let's just go to the edge of the map and we'll reset it. There we go. We'll reset it because clearly some AI's had enough. That then brings up to my discussion earlier of roundabouts and how AI just does not like them whatsoever. There we go. Let's should all be clear in a second. Not to say don't freeze and die on me now, cause I do actually need us to get there. There we go. Because this is the bit that everybody wants to see. Pennington, what's happened? What's the crack? And what's my opinions? So yes, as I did fear, Totnes Road is now the last stop. So this next stop is now the last calling point. That makes me think that the toll is now curtailed as well. It was worth a go. With all these new MMCs coming in as well, and the other vehicle types coming in, it is going to mean that there's going to be a lot of very cheap Dennis Tridents available. So if you have a preservationist or somebody starting up a small bus company, keep an eye out for that, because there's going to be quite a lot of Dennis Tridents available very soon. It also has a handbrake that I can actually do this with, and it's there we go, and and it doesn't want to kick off too much. And then what we'll do is we'll deposit all the customers here, and then we will spin around whatever loop's being created. Would it be nice if they'd have done a destination that sort of said Paignton Totnes Road on it? Or Totnes Road only. It just sort of, I think, given a little bit more inclination as to the significance of where the service now terminates. It does also make me wonder where the 12's going, because clearly the 12 must be turning short as well. What time are we due in? Oh, we're due in 7 minutes after we're going to get in. It's actually only taken us, I don't quite know how, it's only taken us 20 minutes. I'm sure the 35 used to be longer. I'm sure it used to be longer back in the day. But 20 minutes, that is rather amazing. Well, 21, 22 minutes now. The light's not wanting to change. When you do this, it's also slightly reminiscent of an F1 racing. The sound is just very, very slightly reminiscent. Are these lights going to change, or is this kind of just us now? Because no one's going. Huh? Oh, it's the bus lane lights, it's just jammed on. A bit strange, but they just appear to be jammed. Oh no, the 12 does come through. Oh. Oh, it must be the Memorial Crescent job that they're doing work to. I would appreciate it if these lights changed. Because I think I'm just going to drive through them, because these are taking for absolute ever. I think they've waited for that 12 to go through. Yeah, look, lo and behold, they changed just after that, so clearly they need looking at slightly, or the 12 bus stops need slightly changing, because the lights were staying green as a sensor onto that bus until that bus had finished waiting its time. That is not particularly ideal at lights like that. Let's see where they get us to turn around. So there we go, so lots of roadworks, that's a car going straight through the roadworks. I'm very confused, so we dropped everybody off, so what's actually going on up here then? Count the 16 minutes early as well. And that's interesting. So that is a 35. So have I just deposited everyone there? Oh, it's... Oh, that's random. So they actually start and finish at Totnes Road. So no, they do actually come up to Memorial Crescent. They just come up here on the next trip. It's probably why that woman tried to stay on the bus and we sat upstairs at the front. Oh. Oh, that has confused me. That very much has confused me. I'll have to remember that for next time. So it's all still here, so they're doing the building works to the other junction. So there we go, so that was the 35 route from Totnes to Pennington. Now, all honesty, not particularly that much has changed. However, it's always worth doing a route like this. It's always nice to drive it, and I must say, the more you drive it, the quicker it feels. So if you have enjoyed this video, do be sure to click that like button so that more people can find it and enjoy like you have. And if you haven't already, do be sure to subscribe to the More Bus Videos YouTube channel for more content like this from the simulation section, as well as an archive of over 5,000 backseat and engine-focused public transport videos from the UK and beyond. Featuring buses, trams, trains and more, there's something on the channel for absolutely everyone, with up to 21 additional uploads per week, alongside the massive, massive archives that are always worth having a look at. So do check out all those playlists. If you haven't already, we've just been eaten by a truck. And on that note, thank you all for watching, and I will see you all in the next video, mate. Goodbye for now. Bye.